Welcome back to the channel. Today we're making the Victory necklace. This is Karen with the Ozone Fine Art Ventures. We're going to start with this rough stone and finish a splendid necklace right here, right now. Before we go on, let's see where this rough is from. Way out in eastern Oregon, there's a lot of sagebrush and a lonely locale named Graveyard Point. Some of the best plume agate around comes from there, and that's where this necklace gets its superstar. There it is now, floating across the countryside. Weird. Let's go back to its beginnings and find out how it got here. It's important to listen to a rock, have some laughs, and find out what it wants to do to express itself. This one's a real crack-up. And it did, with a little inspiration from a sledgehammer. This incredible Druzy pocket emerged with some subtle plume agate around it, just begging to be carved. We'd hate to hurt the stone's feelings, so out come the carving tools. We're smoothing out the work from the 180 with a 280 centered diamond bullet burr. Meanwhile, I can't help but be mesmerized by that Druzy. Let's take a closer look. It's like traveling on sugar terrain. The Druzy are minute quartz crystals atop a changing hue of agate, making a glimmering sea. There's something so wonderful about using the natural shape a stone picks and ending up with a carved cabochon that is truly unique. As we're making sure all the deep scratches from the 180 are cleaned up, it's a good time to start thinking about what creative setting we'll need to build to hold this crazy gem. The carving process affords plenty of time for dreaming, and this composition materialized. Attention to how the stone can be held safely, symmetry and asymmetry, and what other stones want to come out and play with this pretty gem all come to mind. Polishing by hand is no gimme. Effort and time are repaid with shining results. We move through the 280 Black Nova point and on to the brown 600 point. This is all a process of working the fine scratches down for the pre-polish. Back at Graveyard Point, the sun was blazing on our backs while we were picking at the earth. Steve came over and asked, "Is this what we're looking for?" and held up this huge chunk of seam that looked like lasagna cut in a pizza slice. That was when me and this little beauty met. Love at first sight. The Gray Nova point is a 1200 grit, and it's really making the subtle pink patterns in the plume pop. That's a sentence. After the gray comes the pink. Just like a pink eraser, it finishes the cleanup job and pre-polish is complete. Yeah, there you are, looking good with the sun glinting off those crystals. And make sure to like and subscribe if you like what you're seeing so far. 8000 grit diamond paste should put the dazzling finish on this agate so it can keep up with those Druzy crystals. I don't know what part I like more, the lapidary polishing stones or the metalsmithing. Mixed metals is always a good time and a cool look, so we're working with fine silver, sterling silver, and copper. One thing I do know for sure, torching the project never gets old. Watching the flame effects on the metal is so neat. Our excuse for this is that we're soldering the bezels for the small stones. After a bath and pickle, it's ready to drill and saw. Details like backless stones can really make a piece special. I'm sawing and filing out the sheet so that when I set the stone, the light will be able to come through the back. This is such a sweet piece of pink chalcedony, it had to get the top shelf treatment. I'm setting it in fine silver bezel with an old school burnisher. The metal holds the stone, no glue. The shape of the body of the pendant is about to get real. This German saw with a special blade can cut through these mixed metals that are 18 gauge like it ain't no thing. Okay, it's starting to look like something. Factored into the process is how the pendant will hang from the neck. What sort of chain are we using? And herein lies the victory part. This is called a Viking Weave, and this is a small victory for me to have made. A bit more about that in a moment, but first we are capping off the weave to create the bail for the pendant. I'm applying soldering paste to the cuff here. The paste is one of my very best friends in jewelry, and it's making short work of this step. Some chunk and burr removal with the coarse Deco sanding disc, and you can see the use of those tabs revealed. The stone will be held claw style, to keep as much of it open for admiration as possible. Well, we've got to sand the claws. Haha, sand the claws. Ho ho ho. Okay, now while we're sanding, I'll tell you the story about the victory. So I was working hard on my last project, a couple of priority rings, and watching some wrap tutorials by Rockhounding Adventures. So good. My hands were busy and the YouTube feed brought up a Viking Weave tutorial. I've been wanting to learn Viking Weave for decades. I started to watch and I just so happened to have everything I needed right at arm's reach in the studio. I thought to myself, I'll try it real quick, and hours later, I had these beautiful chains to hang this necklace from. The victory is that instead of putting it off again, like I had for literally decades, it was time for action. Instead of being sorry in the future for losing another opportunity, the inspiration turned to motivation and a new skill has been won. What's your victory that's waiting in the weeds to be conquered? After the finishing touches on the sanders, we have the completed necklace, Graveyard Point Plume Agate, Pink Chalcedony, and Thunder Egg Agate, with a copper Viking Weave necklace that is oxidized with liver of sulfur. I'll make a video about making that very soon. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you liked it. Check out the companion blog on ozonefineart.com for materials and details about this project. Most importantly, keep creating.